here. So, another edition of Tips and Tricks with SymTrain. Um, I am here today. I'm Jamie, of course, and I have a special guest today, James Chafin from Revenue Group. Um, and our session today is all about random branched sims. So I'm not sure if you all have had an opportunity to use random branch sims, but if you haven't before today, I guarantee you will want to after today. They are a great way to get a lot of information into one sim. And I mean, I was just saying before we let everyone in the meeting, I can have my scripts ready and I can create it in just a couple of minutes, right? It's so quick. So I hope that you will get lots of great information today about another great type of sim that you can create in SymTrain. So with that being said, I want to introduce our guest today. Like I said, it's James Chafin from Revenue Group. Let me share my screen. And I, invited, I'm so thrilled that James could join us because he has such a wealth of knowledge, especially with random branch sims. I think, James, didn't you create random branch sims even in your trial with SymTrain? I think you created random branch sims.
Yes, saw the value in that and got started building them as soon as I could.
Yep. So with that being said, James, like I said, thank you so much. Wanted to maybe have you introduce yourself. What's your role at Revenue Group? And um, maybe tell us a little bit about the types of random branch sims that you create and why.
Sure. Thank you for having me and letting me speak today, and thank you for everyone for joining us. My name is James Chafin. I am Revenue Group's Speech and Quality Manager. I've been in this position since October of last year. Prior to that, for the last 3 years, I had been our speech analytics administrator. I essentially maintained and manage our voice analytics platform. We started using SymTrain about a year ago. It's about been our 1 year anniversary since we started our trial, and we have basically implemented it in every division of our company. Revenue Group, we are a BPO call center operating primarily out of the state of Ohio, but we're mostly a work from home company post COVID, and we have agents working in a number of states all across the United States. We primarily handle collections in the healthcare and utility debt fields, as well as collections for the Attorney General's Office of the State of Ohio. We do hospital customer service, self-pay follow-up, and insurance follow-up for a number of hospitals and healthcare organizations in Ohio and a number of other states in the United States. And we also work in the deregulated energy market telesales industry. And like I said, we use SymTrain to train our agents for pretty much everything now.
Awesome, awesome. So I know that in the beginning, like I said, you've been using random branch sims for almost the entire year that you've been using SymTrain. One of the primary use cases that you saw the value right away, and I know you created some sims, then you went back and decided it was a great way to teach those agents empathy.
Yes.
And so I'd like for you to kind of maybe, if you wouldn't mind, chat a little bit about that, because that is it's a huge pain point, right? Getting people
Yes.
to have the
Yes.
right type of empathy with customers.
And a lot of times it's not even a matter of getting the agents to have like the right kind of empathy. It's about getting the agents to recognize the situations where empathy is an appropriate response. I started out at Revenue Group as a customer service phone agent for a hospital in Columbus, Ohio. So I started off my career with Revenue Group answering phone calls from patients who were making payments. They needed insurance information. They were sometimes dealing with some pretty tough situations. Healthcare in the United States is very expensive. Bills tend to run very, very high, and many people who go to the hospital simply cannot afford to pay their bills. So empathy is very, very important in any hospital customer service setting. But as a company, Revenue Group highly emphasizes empathy in all of our divisions, even with our collectors and in our telesales division. We train empathy uh, all across the board. And the key thing, like I said, is a lot of times it's less, telling people how to empathize, but teaching them when they should empathize. And I noticed after I had worked for a while as an agent, I was promoted to the quality assurance coordinator for our EOS department that handles the hospital customer service side. So I was reviewing a lot of the other agents' calls manually before we started using voice analytics. And after that, I was able to see even more calls. And I noticed that there were a number of agents who would have an obvious situation come up where they could empathize with the patient and help the process, and they just continued along their way like they were a robot, just trying to keep it straight to business and not offering any empathy. And it just always sort of irked me hearing those kinds of calls. So seeing the opportunity to use SymTrain to, help people better identify when they should use empathy as a response, yeah, that was pretty game changing for us.
Awesome. Yeah, I know that immediately once you added that those words, those uh, empathy words throughout these branch sims where they could practice the different scenarios, but
Hmm.
the appropriate empathy for it. You had some really great results in terms of really getting them very quickly to understand exactly what you were trying to get them to understand
Yes. And
by
this this
creating branch sims.
also this also applies not just to the scenarios where it's a person who is struggling with, something that, is harming their physical, mental, or financial health. I implement this in what we call tough customer practice sims as well. Because really, when you have an angry customer calling in, somebody who's just upset for some reason, someone who is frustrated for some reason, those are also great opportunities for empathy. And empathy can often help diffuse those situations and result in, better service recovery times than would otherwise be possible without that kind of behavior from the agent.
Very good. Yep. I completely agree. That's awesome. So I want to kind of, I mean, I know that everyone would be really interested in hearing how you approach creating a branched sim. So, just to kind of give it a little bit of a, a, a high level. So, branched sims currently are what we call random branch sims. So, it's about being able to put different scripts into one simulation and having every time that agent runs that simulation, SymTrain will randomly give them a branch to practice. So they would have to do that if there's 12 branches, they would do it, several times. And the great purpose behind it is it gives them practice with learning that specific scenario and the wording approach to whatever it's teaching them, and also being able to get given them a branch at random. They don't know which one they're going to get when they run that sim, and that's part of the anxiety a lot of times with agents of, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to, I hope they won't ask me something I don't know the answer to, and that's part of the anxiety. So this helps with both of those. But James, I'm going to let you kind of talk about it. He actually went through the process, and this is his approach to creating a branch sim, and I thought it was fantastic, of what
Thank you.
he does to make it fun, and to make it a great branch sim with different different, I think you said you made one that had 12 branches.
I think I'm up to 14 on this
14.
one.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
Yep.
So I've got his steps right here, and I would love it, James, if you could walk us through the process that you do to creating a branch sim.
Absolutely. So the most important part to me starts off with the creation of the character. This is the person who is going to be your customer on the sim. And I highly recommend keeping it to one specific customer on a branch sim so that every time the person does that branch sim, it's going to be the same customer, just a different scenario that customer is going through. This is just going to save you a little bit of time because you're not having to, rename the people in every single branch of the sim. You can basically create the character's biography information, write it out, and then have it available so that you can copy and paste that over. So for the empathy sim that I built out for our hospital customer service division, our agents have to ask certain questions and verify on every call, like the patient's name, date of birth, address, and phone number. I'm going to come up with that information for this character and have that on hand so that it's always going to be the same information every time they do the sim, so it's not going to confuse anyone. It's like, hey, why is their address different in this one? Unless it's specific to that branch of the sim, like if there was a sim for or a branch for a person changing their address, that would be your scenario where you would need that information to be different. This can also extend to other people that might be mentioned in the sim. For instance, I had a character for the empathy sim. She's just going through a really rough time right now. Had a son in a car accident, had a mother pass away, a father with dementia, and I have all of those characters' names also written out before I really start the bulk of the script writing. So once you have all that information, you have your character, and you know the general tone of the sim you're going for, the specific training that the sim is going to address. That's when you're going to sit down and you're going to think of your different scenarios to create your branches. This is a great opportunity to work it with a team of people who have experience with this kind of call. Like, tell me the scenarios that you remember from your experience that best would be good opportunities for training empathy. So you can sit down and work out like 1-2 sentence synopsis for each of those scenarios. Like for me on this empathy sim for hospitals, it was well, the patient had the wrong insurance build, they had no insurance build. The online payment system isn't working. They had an agent who was rude to them on the phone. They had a parent who was deceased they're calling to update the information on. Basically, that was what I was writing, and I came up with 14 of those. And I knew these are the scenarios I want to go through. After that, you're going to basically write out your introduction. Each branch of the sim is essentially going to start the same way. Maybe there's going to be some slight differences depending on the nature of that branch. You can edit them a little bit as is, but keeping it as close to the same as possible is going to save you a huge chunk of time. You might be able to get your like a third of your sim done just automatically there and just copy and paste it. Uh, Once you have that opening set, that's when you're going to start filling out the dialogue for each of the branch. I highly recommend doing this in Microsoft Word as a doc format because it's very easy to quickly upload a sim that way. Using it in doc, you can type it out super fast and then upload it. It saves you a little bit of time versus manually typing it into the sim creator interface. So once you have all of those written out, now it's probably going to be the biggest time sink, but anyone who's actually done this and has experience on the calls, they're going to know the cadence of these calls, the dialogue that's going to be used. And if you are working on a team, you can always work with another person. It's like one person writes one character's dialogue, and then the other person writes the agent responses. Right? Once you have all those uploaded, you can just go one at a time in Sim Creator. I do highly recommend naming each branch appropriately. So, you're not just saying branch one is this, branch two is this, although it is up to you. Once you have all of them loaded, you go in, you set your keywords. For this one, I was only doing the empathy keywords. Those are the only ones that are going to be scored on this sim. And then finally, if you type it into the Word docs, okay, you shouldn't have to do much in the way of final editing, and then you can publish and you're good to go. And that's
Just
pretty
that
much it.
simple.
Yep.
That's
I mean,
great.
just a huge part of it is basically having a little bit of an imagination and trying to think of that person who you're going to utilize in this sim.
I really like the idea of creating a character and keeping that one branched sim sort of like that is that customer who might have all of these different questions, and being able to answer them appropriately with the appropriate type of empathy. I mean, I love that. That's a great way to look at it, because as a user, I think that really would help to feel more comfortable with not only the situation, but the type of customer that's calling.
Can
Great.
I ask a question really quick?
Yes.
It's overall just about the branched sims. So we are just kind of starting to dive into the branched sims, but we were wondering, do they have to complete every single branch in order, like if they're in a training plan, will they have to finish every single branch, or will they just do one branch, and then if we assigned it again, they would potentially get a different branch?
Every time they run the sim, it's going to give them a different branch. So they have to actually execute the sim. Um, uh, they'd have to do that training plan, different times to get the different branches, because it can only give them one branch every time they execute that. And it is done at random.
Oh, okay.
In
So they
in
just need the one branch in order, or just to do the one branch in order to get credit for it, basically, right?
Yes.
Okay,
in
perfect. Thank you.
In our case, to differentiate the branch sims from the normal sims, I always named the branch sims to have in parentheses after the name of the sim, however many outcomes that the sim has. And then I would basically just advise the agents using SymTrain that this is a sim that is designed for you to go in and redo multiple times, and it'll indicate how many possible outcomes this sim has in the name of the sim. And I did notice that when I put those parentheses giving a number of outcomes for the sim, we had a lot more people repeatedly going in and doing those sims rather than just going in and doing it the one time. So just that little bit of notice on there that, hey, you can do this multiple times. That just helps them, sort of understand. Yeah, we should use this as a tool rather than just a test.
That answer your question, Ashley?
Yes, it did. Thank you so much.
Um, James, did you have a sim that you wanted to show?
Yeah, I actually have the sim that I put together, basically to come up with this sort of rough idea, because I was just building them basically by instinct, I suppose, until I sort of
Okay.
wrote down this plan. This is what I was doing, but I didn't really sort of order it in my head until earlier this week. But I did put this sim together. This is going to be something we haven't rolled this out to EOS yet. This is sort of a teaser. But our other two divisions, collections and our sales loft division, they've been using the branch sims. So far, EOS has been heavily relying on SymTrain for new hire training. They've been expanding a lot recently. A lot of new campaigns have been added. So we have brand new agents with no phone experience whatsoever. And we've been primarily doing a rather more rigid training plan without the branch sims. So this is going to be a new continuing education add-on that we're going to basically roll out to everyone in EOS very, very soon. So let me get my screen share here going.
I was creating a sim and keep in mind just how you generally would create that sim, whether you create a script or you could upload a call, all of those same options apply. If you actually write out the script, you can note your keywords in the script, and then once you upload it, it's done with that. So keeping that in mind.
So yes, this is the big empathy sim that we put together for EOS. And EOS has a lot of different campaigns, a lot of different hospitals. So I've added this as their greeting. Since we're not doing any keywords in this, we can put this generic one in here. So we're just saying, use whatever greeting is appropriate for the hospital you're representing. And then you're going to have just your script as it was uploaded. So if I was just going to pretend like I'm adding a branch here. Obviously, this many branches, it's going to take a little bit longer to load when you're going to add another branch. I noticed that as I was building this, that you add so much to it, it's gonna just take a little bit more time. All right, well, there we go. We're gonna upload the script, and as you can see here, I've got all of the scripts that I wrote out saved in a folder. Big empathy sim scripts. Each of these written out in Word format, and then I can just upload it and then get one of these. And you can just click on any of these and you can see up at the top, it's going to tell you what the specific branch is for. So here's a patient, they can't afford deductible. And then we have our scored empathy phrases. Totally understand. That'd be a lot for many people to pay off in one go. I'm sorry, I know how tough this must be for you. Just basic understanding phrases that you say to tell the person that you're on their side. And go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say the first sim is kind of the name of it. I like the way you've done that and giving them the outcomes. That's a wonderful idea.
Yep, this is whatever is the first one. Yeah, put that there to just let them know. Yeah, you can go back and do this sim multiple times. This is the biggest indicator, I think, because every one of these that I put this on, I had the people using that sim more often than the other sims. Otherwise, they're just probably going to go through it once, maybe twice. Then, especially if they just started and they're doing the initial training, they're going to be so busy taking and making the calls to actual people that they're not going to think of SymTrain quite as much. But with these, it's just it puts a little itch in their brain, like the ones that are completionists, like the ones who like to play a lot of video games and get all the endings in the video games. They're going to be the ones that are especially going back over and over again, trying to make sure they get 100% on that. And yep, that's pretty much it.
Are there any other questions? Wonderful. I did just have, again, just to kind of clarify, random branching allows the sim creator, you can create different scenarios and put it in one sim. I loved your example there, naming them so that the trainee kind of understands, oh, there's different things I can practice. It really does. I mean, I know, kind of put myself in their shoes. I would be like, oh, let me see what the next one is, right? It gets them excited about kind of practicing that. Gives it to them at random. Again, helps with not knowing what's going to come up. Just like in a call, they don't know what the customer is going to ask for and need their help with. Again, having the agent learn different conversations and the best way to respond to those, whether you focus on empathy in a sim or, just being able to navigate and get to resolution quicker, whatever that is, you can focus that random branch sim on that. And let's say, so great ways to using it. Objection handling. It's a great use case for branched sims. FAQs, frequently asked questions that they get. Again, kind of starting out, like James suggested, putting the same beginning script line in there and then just kind of going from there. Soft skills, like we've talked about, empathy, resolution, active listening. There's just a million of them. Compliance questions. a big part of it. A lot of times with compliance, they have it written, they have a book, maybe they reference for those direct answers. But again, giving them the ability to learn the structure of those responses gives them a lot more confidence when they're on a call. Parts of the conversation that are the same, sim by sim, conversation by conversation. Difficult parts of processes that need more repetition. So you might have a sim that people struggle at in different parts. You can make that a random branch sim and they could just really just focus on those parts of that sim. Fully scripted responses where the agent would typically just read the response. Like I said before, sometimes you have a book for that, but it gives them a lot more experience to be able to and know the structure before they actually get that question from a patient or a customer. Rapid fire practices, right? They go in and do it. Every time they do it, they'll get one of those branches thrown at them at random. Again, if it is needed that they memorize that response, this is a good way to kind of get them really thinking about how can I really learn the total structure and words in this particular conversation. And then, yep, that was it. So I just wanted to kind of go over, really some of the great use cases for that and allow you to see how simple it is. Let me look at my time right here. So we've got a few minutes. So what I want to do is, let me just go here. Oh, no. Okay. I was like, where'd everyone go? So let me go right here. And I want to actually show you how simple and fast it is to make a Brandon Branch sim. Let me get it all kind of ready here. So I won't make you dizzy with it. So, all right, here we go. Let me share my screen. Okay, so here I am being able to, it's right now our random branching is audio, but that, and again, you're going to name this sim. So I'm going to name it, I always kind of put branching, objection, handling, and I like this. So I'm going to have 3 branches. So I was got that there. So I'll name it there. You go add a branch. And here you go. So this is going to be your first branch. So you can add it here. I'm just going to go here. Got it all ready. Again, you can add your your keywords in here and not even have to do that. You can do when you do here. So I'll name this after I add my branches here. It's just that simple. And then I'll add another branch here. Okay. So I've got my objection handling on here. You can just go here. I can put fraud. And then you just rename that. And I would think I would probably put on here 3. So they know that there's 3 branches. And then here, can name this looking in. There you go. So I've got my branches here. I can keep adding, proceed, publish. And there I've got a branch sim. It's just that simple. And so I hope that this was helpful. I hope that you guys will go into SymTrain and give your hand at creating a branch sim. They really are a great way to get a lot of information out there, get them practicing all these different scenarios in one sim. Thank you so very much, James, for your time today, all of your insight, all of your wealth of knowledge. I truly appreciate you being here, and I know everyone got so much out of your information. So thank you very much for
Most welcome. Happy
sharing
to
with us.
most welcome. Happy to help out, and thank you everyone for joining today.
Thank you all very much, and please.
Thanks, James.
Most welcome.
Please join us.
Hey, Jamie, I have a
next
quick.
week. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. I actually have a quick question, and I know we're up on time, but when you posted in that branch sim with the document, it seemed like it already had the keywords. Was that something I missed, or how did you make it post the keywords already?
Yeah, so when you create that's one of the benefits of creating a script in a Word doc, is around your keywords or phrases, you can note those in that script before you upload it, and it will upload them for you. And what you do is you put a less than dash, and then the keyword or phrase, and then a dash, and another in the greater than sign. So you're basically putting the word or phrase within those little factors, and that will allow your keywords to automatically be noted in the script when you upload it. So it
That's
saves you
awesome.
some time. Yeah, it's really a great fast way to do that. And especially in the case of what James was saying with empathy, you probably want to look at the script and say, okay, these are the words I'm going to add, and then just add those as your keywords right there in the script. So again, around a keyword or phrase, less than sign, dash, then the keyword or phrase, and dash, greater than sign. And if it's at the end, if there's any sort of punctuation with it, include it with those words or phrases in those brackets. And it will automatically update it for you. So it's a time saver.
Perfect.
Jamie,
Thank you so much.
aren't those also in the like template script that you can download? Doesn't it have that in there already for you to kind of see how it works?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so you can just download the template for it, and it'll kind of show you some of the different tips and stuff that we use as well.
Thank you, Heather.
Yeah, thank you. That's
Absolutely.
super helpful. Thanks so much, all of you. That was a really great session. I learned a lot.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. If you have any other questions, reach out to us at any time, jamie@symtrain.com, or any of us at SymTrain. Thank you again, James, for your time and for all of your knowledge.
Most welcome.
And I hope that you all will have a great rest of your day.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you, Jamie.
Bye.